The first scripture reading is from Daniel chapter 1, verses 3 through 17. Nebuchadnezzar told Ashpenaz, the chief steward, to bring in some of the Israelite youth from either the royal house or the nobility, young people without any physical defect, who were attractive, intelligent, quick learners, well-informed and wise, and train them in the ways of the royal court and teach them the language and literature of the Chaldeans. The ruler assigned them daily rations of food and wine from the royal table, and after 3 years of training, they were to enter Nebuchadnezzar's service. Among these were young Judean nobles, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The chamberlain, however, changed their names. Daniel was renamed Belteshazzar. Hananiah was renamed Shadrach. Mishael was renamed Meshach, and Azariah was named Abednego. Second reading from Luke chapter 15, verses 3 through 7. Jesus then addressed this parable to them. Who among you, having 100 sheep and losing one of them, doesn't leave the 99 in the open pasture and search for the lost one until it is found? And finding it, you put the sheep on your shoulders in jubilation. Once home, you invite friends and neighbors in and say to them, "Rejoice with me, I found my lost sheep." I tell you, in the same way, there will be more joy in heaven over one repentant sinner than over 99 righteous people who have no need to repent. Third reading About Joy by Mark Nepo in his book, Reduced to Joy. Often, what keeps us from joy is the menacing assumption that life is happening other than where we are. So we are always leaving, running from or running to. All the while, joy rises like summer wind, waiting for us to grow in the open, large as willows it can sing through. I've learned that if we can stay true to our experience and to each other and face the spirit that experience and love carry, we will eventually be reduced to joy. Like cliffs worn to their beauty by the pounding of the sea, if we can hold each other up, all that will be left will be wonder and joy.
I want to do a little brief introduction of our guest preacher today. Reverend Dr. Janie Spahr is no stranger to Metropolitan Community Church. As her and our church mother, Lynn, were talking beforehand, they've been around the church about as long together. Janie's been around MCC since the early 80s. 1982 is when you came here, 1980, and she was our pastor of minister of pastoral care after the Presbyterian Church decided that she was not welcome as a lesbian, and they didn't know what to do with her, so we welcomed her home because that's what we do. And I would like to welcome Janie Spahr forward to give us the word today.
Howdy do. Now, can I say to you, do you know I have been in a lot of churches around this country, and I tell you, when I come back here, it's like, look at the number of you are here and listen to the music. You are like any choir I mean the best choirs, trust me, across this country. So it is so great to be back with you again. And you, sir, well, let's say hello. Come on. Oh, look, already I'm falling off. So, darlings, to come back here again, Lynn was 36, and I was 38 when we began, and I am 83, and he is 82, but we are still here, and we are still queer. So, yes. So the part of Daniel, which was not read, is kind of hilarious, but I'll tell you about that. So why these texts? And I love Daniel because, not only because that's the name of your pastor, but because it's the story of how someone deals with empire. Darlings, are we in empire now? Uh-huh. And so it's a story for us. So what do you do when empire is in full swing? How do you save yourself? So the story of Daniel, do you love this story? I'm thinking, does anybody really read the Bible? It's so gay. Now listen to this. There are 4 men who we later called, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but we won't even play with those words. But what happens is with empire, they take their brightest and best. Then they move them to the conquering country, and then they do this. They say, we're going to teach them all our wisdom literature. We're going to teach them to be cultured like us. We are going to dominate who they are. And not only that, we are going to change their names. We have done that in this country to Native American people, in which we have taken them to boarding schools, in which we have taken them out of their homes, taken away their culture. They were told they could not speak their language, and we gave them their names. In the African American and the enslaved community that came here, not only was it horrible what we did as enslaving, but we were the only country that said that their souls belonged to us, and we changed their names to the name of the master of the house. Whoa! And what's happening now? Fascism is happening now. It is the domination system to do this. What you didn't read in Daniel, which is this: Daniel knows how to navigate, as any gay man does know how to navigate in domination systems. All right? So this is what happened. Maybe we were dominated in such a way that we were taken, that it felt like we were in another country, that our families didn't know who we were, but we knew that we were different, that we were named and framed in such a way that we knew that somehow we were not like the other people. And so it's almost like being somewhere else in our own homes where we didn't even know who we were. It's that kind of takeover that says, let's assimilate you. So what happens is that people want to assimilate us so that we act like and become like everybody else. And they call it like this: empire food tastes so good. Empire food just tastes so good. And after you have empire food, it begins to make you unconscious, begins to make you afraid, begins to make you feel like, whoa, I think I'll just go to sleep for a while. Makes us fearful, makes us feel like there's no hope. What can I do? That's what domination systems do. So listen to what Daniel did. Daniel went to one of the king's folks that oversee, who were the overseers, and he said this, I've got an idea. He said, why don't we for 10 days, this is the God's truth, that's right, it's right in there. Why don't we for 10 days, the four of us, not eat empire food. Let's eat vegetables and water. Did you hear me? This is in the text. You'll have to read it. Read it. And it says this. This is what we'll do. We're not going to eat your food. And for 10 days, you just take a look at us. And if we look the same, or if we're okay, but if we look like how you don't want us to look, then you just put us back on that empire food. Well, what happened in 10 days? Those vegetarian boys, those vegetarian gay boys, what did they do? They look better than anybody. This is in the first chapter. How do you navigate through an empire that says this is how you have to do, this is what you have to learn, and you have to become like us? And Daniel said, oh, no, we don't, baby. Oh, no, we don't. We will not be assimilated. We will not be like you. We will be like us. Not only that, then, of course, they prayed, and they got into more trouble later, and that's about the lion's den, but that's a whole other thing. So, in an empire, if you want to be a vegetarian, why not, I say? The great thing about being gay is it saves our life, because we have a way of looking at the world in another way, in a way that is so conscious and so aware, so that we stay awake, so that we can fight empire. Let's hear a story. How many of you know Sally Gerhardt? Tell me you know that name. Oh, thank the goddess for that. Look at this. Come over here, Ben. Take this stuff off my, pick me up here, will you? So, Sally Gerhardt came here to you many times. Do you remember, any of you? All right, I'm going to tell you, Sally Gerhardt, there's a film out about her now, right, Lynn? There's a film out about her now, and what the film is it tells the true story. It was not only Harvey Milk who was the prophet, it was Sally Gerhardt, because you always go out in teams. Didn't Jesus tell us that? Go out in teams. How come people don't know that Sally Gerhardt was with Harvey Milk? And she should have had a ship named after her too, because she knew the Bible. She was a good Lutheran gal, and she could speak to the conservative men and clergy around this country in a way that Harvey couldn't. The other thing is, she was a professor of speech at San Francisco State. So this amazing woman in empire, she and Harvey went up and down California speaking. It's incredible. So I want you to hear this. In 1991, this friend of mine just found this. I thought, she just found this. I said, I've got to read this to our folks. Don't worry, I'm just using one paragraph. Did you get a little nervous? Oh, God, she's going to read us the whole thing. No. Sally Gerhardt, in 1991, there were a group of us in Empire, in 1991, called Christian Lesbians Out Together. And we were across many denominations, and we were rascals, okay? And across, it's like Carter Hayward said, it's like seeing one of us across a hill and saying, by God, we're doing the same thing. And so it was Mary Hunt. Do you know these names? Tell me you do. And Carter Hayward and so on. So a whole group of us went out there together and met together. We met in Minneapolis, Minnesota in, oh my dear God, in 1991, around Valentine's Day, actually October 27th. Here you go. The night we arrived, it began to snow. It snowed 24 inches of snow in one night. And the Minneapolis paper said the reason why it was so damaging and 24 inches because there were a bunch of lesbians that came in from across the country, and this is who causes the damage. I kid you not. We were hysterical. It was fabulous. So Sally wrote us a letter because she had come out in 1952. So I want you to see if this resonates at all with you. Because we come from that era, some of us, as I'm looking around the room, except for you, darling, and you better stay. She says, in 1952, I sat crying under the cross on Vesper Hill at an Episcopal girls' camp where I was a riflery counselor. You can't make this up. I had in my hand a devastating goodbye letter from my first lover, whose parents had whisked her off to Scandinavia. To Scandinavia because they had discovered the nature of our relationship. A shadow fell across the letter, and I clasped it to my chest as I looked up into the face of the camp bugler. Are you with me? A rather butch woman that I had suspected might share some of my own unorthodox feelings about women. She didn't look at me, but instead squatted beside me and put her hand on my shoulder. There we stayed for a full minute, looking out together in silence over the Greenbrier River. Then she took a long drag off her Chesterfield cigarette, blew out the smoke, and gave my shoulder a firm squeeze. Still looking out, she announced to me and to the West Virginia hills, "We are growing in numbers every day." With that, she stood up, walked away, leaving me dumbfounded and exhilarated with my first experience of lesbian identity, lesbian community, and lesbian power. Yes, do you love this? Come on. It's the story of all of us when we found out that we weren't the only one. Right, Mother? We are not the only one. It's a thing that happens to us that is so exhilarating, and people look at us like, oh, those poor dears, don't they? Oh, those poor dears. And we're like, hey, this is great. I mean, I want to say, have you ever been to a gay party? And wait till you go to a transgender one. They're the best. So this is the story. This is the story of how we are saved from empire, is that things like this happen to us so that we become conscious, because then we ask, well, if they're saying things about us, what are they saying about other people to make them the other? And that's how it works. Listen to Martin Luther King Jr. He said the first thing they do is they name us. Then they frame us. Then they blame us. Yes? Yes? Then they shame us. Then they claim us. And then they maim us. And that's how domination systems work. So my thing to you is, I want you to turn to somebody right now and tell them, just for a moment, How do you have hope? What do? Do you become like Daniel, a vegetarian, and eat vegetables? How is it in this Babylon of today? How do you keep hope? Just takes a second. Just turn to, how do you keep hope in empire? Yes. How do you keep hope, Ben? Yeah, and you sing. Your music helps you to stay awake. Yes. Stay and have community. It's community. So it's community a lot, right? I mean, the reason why you're here, why we're still here, it's community that says, welcome, and means it. It's community that says, there's Lynn Gerber over there, keeping our history so we know who we are. Our history, a consciousness of people that are loving who we are. So here's what happens. When I came here in 1980, this place was filled. It was filled. The choir was like, oh my goddess, the choir. I mean, all that kind of thing. And you know what happened? Hundreds of people came to this city looking for this place, looking for MCC San Francisco. You know why? Because they said, not only do we think you're good, but God thinks you're good. God thinks you're good. So when I did national work traveling around the country in places like Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, every place we went in a van. Do you love that? A lesbian evangelist, my dream. And there we would go in these places and we would say that. Do you know what? God thinks you're good. And we saw weeping the same way I saw here at MCC San Francisco. People sat in the back row, and you could begin to see it, and that we took our faith seriously, and that we knew we were somebody. And then, you know what we did? We didn't rename, we rebaptized. And I got rebaptized. I was like, whoa. This is what happens. It's like, oh my God, what they were saying about us isn't true. We know who we are. And this is what happens here. And this is why I will always come back here. Because when the Presbyterians didn't know what to do with me, you said, well, come on in, darling. That's what happens. And I saw people become themselves. And that's what you see. And that's why you're here. Because you see people become who they are. Because what happens? See, what happens when you become who you are? Then what? Well, then Sally Gerhardt went on to work with Harvey Milk. And I went on to become a lesbian evangelist. And Harvey Milk went and became a supervisor, and then went on. What happens to you when you know who you are? So here we are in Empire, but this is the difference. We have ourselves now. And we are not 38 and 36. We are 82 and 83, and there is nothing like an LGBTQ person knowing that they have themselves. Because when we have ourselves, then we know how to serve. It all comes back. We thought we were alone. We thought that nobody else was here. And then we found out, oh my God, there's a whole bevy of... And then what we say, an army of lovers shall not fail. Do you remember that? That's from our past. This is what Lynn is preserving for us. This is what you did. So I'm going to name some names. Do you know who the Presbyterians were who came here? Annie Steinberg Bierman, Victor Floyd, Penny Nixon. All of us came here. And you know what you did? You queerified us. You did. I thought about that last night. I thought, what did they queerified us. Now, that's it. So your numbers, see, you think it's small, but I'm telling you, you have oceans of people out there that you have held back. Some of us stay, but some of us go back to those denominations who said we were not worthy. And when we went back, we were happy queers. And that's the difference. And this is what we're doing for transgender people now. This is our responsibility. Right now, we started this whole new center in Marin. Oh, no, not again. 42 years? Why not? Let's start again. So we started again. But who's there? Who is running our youth group? 2 amazing young people, one from Venezuela, one from Colombia, because, darlings, we are multifaceted people. And they are able to speak in Spanish and English and other languages with the people that are coming now. And to watch them. But listen what they said to us. Now listen, Janie, we don't need to do a support group like we used to. What we need to do, because you can get support online anywhere. There are fabulous support groups out there for transgender, gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever. But they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a thing where we celebrate who we are. You know what these kids said to them? They said, oh, we don't want to hear one more thing about behavior and one more thing about it. We just want to come together. And we want to like who we are. And we just want to celebrate who we are. So they are creating a whole new thing that we wouldn't have thought of. You know, and our thing was, oh my God, let's do suicide prevention. You know, let's do all these things. But see, they have access. That doesn't mean all that isn't happening, but what's happening now is so different. And they want to celebrate. But the other thing they said to us was, but we want to know our history. So that we know, so that we can claim. How do you have hope? How do we get hope from you? So that's our job. That's our job, is to tell them our history of who we are and what we came from and our stories, because they want to hear our stories. It's like they're 20 years old. Tell us the stories so we can know too. Give us some hope. So I want to give you 2 things here. I have so many things to thank you for. Not only for queerifying me, but taking me beyond that. To really looking at people, to really wanting to hear their story. You did that for me, and for Victor, and for Annie, and for Penny, and think about it, and that's just Presbyterians. Oh my God. Think of the Catholics you have. Come on. Come on. Come on. But it's true. So I want to tell you, when I think about this, my 2 sons, who are now 58 and 56, Lynn. One day, Jimmy came home from a class. He was in high school then. Came home from this class and he said this, well, today, Mom, I saved the Chinese, the African American, and the gays. I said, what? He said, no, Mom, I got to tell you this. He said, we were in this class, and of course, all of us are white, and so this teacher starts out like this, were you white privileged, and starts into how terrible they are and all that kind of thing, and he raised his hand. And he said, well, I've been in the African American community. I have learned more than I can ever tell you. I have been in the Chinese community. I have been in the gay community. In fact, the first prom that I went to was Garson Wheatley Thomas from MCCSF gave me my first coat to wear. And so he went back on this first. So I said, you may think we all look alike, but you need to know and we understand oppressed systems, so you must never talk to me that way, and you ought to meet some of these other people in the room who you think are white and privileged. Well, I said, who's the preacher today? Honey, you raised my children. And in the African American community, Wanda Graham Harris raised my children. In the Chinese community where I had a church, do you know what? Have you ever been to a place? I drove up to this church, and there were 4 women with bags. And when I came to go in the door, they bowed to me, and then I bowed back. I'm telling you, I've been to the Chinese Presbyterian church before. And that's where we learned. And my kids were there because we just get exposed to the moreness of life and inclusion. And the last thing is this. Like Ben, there was a guy by the name of Gary Smith. Did you ever know this name? Gary Smith was one of our piano players. We had many piano players then. I don't know if they were as good as you, but they were good. And Gary Smith was one of those, and he was just built like you know what, and he rode a motorcycle, and he let me ride on his motorcycle. Felt so butch that day. But this is Gary, and this is why we're here, and how many stories do we hear? And then HIV hit. And we not only changed our boys' diapers, but we prayed with them, and we loved them over to heaven. And how many in this church that were gone, you know, Lynn has all the history, so do I. And Gary Smith went from being this he said, they're never going to call me Sissy Janie. Beautiful man. And we went in, and his parents, Southern Baptist, they were wringing their hands. And Connie's staff and I went in to Gary's room. We walked in, and they saw us. They said, Reverend, we heard you were coming. Now, I don't know who they think we were. You know, we're gay as them. You know what I'm saying? But so we walk in, and if you have that little reverend face and put a little collar on, they'll believe you. Watch that. So we walked in, and they were like this. And I said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm Reverend Janie Spahr, and this is Reverend Connie's staff, and we've come here to be with Gary. So we went in. And by then, Gary was tiny, because you remember. And we prayed with him. And in this tiny whisper, and this is what I'm talking about, who we are, he went like this. He said, now it's my turn to pray for you, that you will take this story and spread it out everywhere. So we walked out, and his parents, of course, this is the word. Reverend, is Gary saved? And I said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, not only is he saved, but he is saving us. That was it. They were like, if you could have seen him, they were like, well, he's saved. You know what I mean? It was just like, we set them free. We set their mother free. This is your boy. You know who he is. He's free. He's been saved a long time, and he is saving us. So, that's what I learned here. That's what I learned here. So everywhere I go, when I'm crossing people over the Rainbow Bridge, I remember Gary Smith. And I remember I remember what faith in action does. So I'm just spreading the news that you have given me. My first sermon to you, 10 years after I was on trial in the Presbyterian Church. Why not? I was on trial, and you had me come back, and you had made me your missionary. Listen to this. To the mainline denominations when I left you. You laid hands on me, just like, watch out when they lay hands on you. So here is the name of my sermon: A View from the Missionary Position. So, I thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Remember, be conscious. We got a lot of work to do, but don't let empire get you. Don't. We got too much work to do. Thank you so much. I have a gift to give you because it's your birthday. It's your anniversary. Come on. So I figure, why not another flag? So I give you a progress flag because look what we've learned. Just a minute. Open this for me, will you, darling? It takes a gay man. Hello. I bet it's right there. There he goes. Now I want to show you something. When we started, because look how we were. Let's talk about privilege. Look what we did. Look who we added. Look who we added, right? We added transgender flag. And look at the black and brown. Unless we're doing this all together, unless we get what it is, these oppressive systems and how they work, we will be in empire food. No, we're conscious. We did it, and we're going to do more. So thank you so much. Blessings.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes in my soul. How can I keep from singing? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? What though the tempest loudly roar, I hear the truth, it's living. What though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it's giving. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord singing. The peace of Christ makes fresh my heart, a fountain ever springing. All things are mine since I am his. How can I keep from singing? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? Received of the fields, it will set you free. This bread of life I will take up, and I will call on the name of God. I will take the cup of freedom and call on the name of God. I will take the cup of freedom and call on the name of God. This is the cup given of the earth, received of the vine, it will set you free. The cup of freedom I will take up, and I will call on the name of God. I will take the cup of freedom and call on the name of God. I will take the cup of freedom and call on the name of God.
This table is set for everyone. You do not need to be a member of this church. You don't need to have a driver's license, a credit card, a green card, or passport. All you need to have is a desire to seek love and joy and liberation and a shared meal at our table. Our usher, Jeff, will guide people forward. We're going to have two stations. Myself and Reverend Dr. Janie Spahr will be also offering communion. I'll be on this side, she'll be on that side. There's one line coming up in the front here. And I know you want to go to Janie, but if you want to get out of here, you'll need to come to both of us. You'll come forward. Now, of course, if you do not want to come forward, but you want to participate in communion, we also have communion kits back there by the camera, and our lovely Jeff is pointing them out to you now. And if you want to, you can do your communion from your seat. And if you choose to do neither, you are participating by witnessing in your seat. There are also going to be songs that we are going to be singing during communion, which are on the next page, which is a new thing that we brought back for during communion. So Jeff, our usher, will guide you to come forward, and let us all come to the table and celebrate God's love. Stand as you are able for our closing song.
What a fellowship, what
Go out in joy, it'll frighten them. Go out in peace, because we know that's the way. Go out and be conscious, challenging every oppressive system that says no when God says yes. Go out in joy. Have a beautiful day. Smile at them. It'll make them nervous. Blessings. Amen.